how long was it after until you received that phone call from pretty much the UFC, telling you that this is an opportunity, so what are you gonna do? And I heard the story that you like crashed your car or something when you when you heard the
I
phone
hit
call or something.
I was taking pictures. My friend took pictures of me with a belt they won in Mexico because I was defending that belt against somebody from the US that had a couple fights in Bellator. So that was big deal. Like you're fighting a former Bellator guy. That's my ticket to the UFC. So I leave the photo shoot. My friend was sending me the pictures to my email, and I pick up the phone and they was like, "Hey, like this is the UFC, blah blah blah." I fucking hit the curb so hard, my tire explodes. I was like, "Fuck," and I was like, "Hey, if this is a fucking joke, I'm gonna kill you." I was so excited. I felt something that fuck. It was a weird. It was like a drug. It was something that I was like, when they told me that, my whole body went in shock. I was like, "Holy fuck!" Like, seems like I made it, and it was a fucking crazy call. It was unbelievable.
And it's like your family was supporting you up until like right before that, right? They were gonna say in December, December is like the final line.
That's what my dad told me. Like, hey, my dad was like, hey, like I support you, like with what I have. Like I can give you food, I can help you with your daughter. Between your sister and your brother, they help you with your rent. Your mother-in-law helps a little bit. So each person of the direct family was like pitching with something. Like I was like a foundation. They would put like $100 per head so I can have food and pay rent. But on me, I don't have a dollar. Like I didn't even have a wallet back then. I don't have a bank account. It was just ID and my phone. So like I would go to my dad's house and be like, yo, you got like $5. Like he's like, yeah, $5. And I would use that for gas because I know there was food at home. But it was, even if looks like, oh yeah, they just pay for everything, I had nothing. So if I wanna go and, I don't know, buy a pair of shoes, I was like, I can't. I would have to win a fight, and with those 300 or 400 I was making, then get something for me or for my wife. But like in the daily basis, there's no salary coming in. Like one point I was working for the jiu-jitsu coach for Soluso, and I was like, kind of like his assistant. So I will go and pay bills. I will send emails that the tournament is coming up. I will go and pick up gis that he print, and that was like 1,000 a month. So that was
It's
a
a good
lot of
amount.
money.
Yeah, yeah.
That was like fuck. With that money, yeah, I felt like a man. I was able to not pay fully, but pitch on my rent, buy food myself. But it was very limited. It was like a lot of people used to say like, "Fuck this, I'm gonna find a job," and I'm not doing this because a lot of people offer me jobs. It's like, "Hey, you can work for me in the afternoons. You can work for me in the morning." I will make a couple grand, but then the fighting thing was over. So I just said like, "Fuck, I'm gonna make it. If
Mhm.
you don't stop, I'm gonna make it." And I just keep telling myself like, keep going, don't worry. But then going back to where you asked, my dad told me like, hey man, this is the last year. After this, you have two options: figure it out yourself or work for me. But when you work for me, there's no training 4 times a day. You work for me, and then you can train when I tell you you're done today. I was like, okay, cool. They fucking called me like 10 days before November was over.
Wow.
Like, and that's nothing I can control. Like I told my dad like, okay, cool. And then once my dad back it up, maybe my sister and my brother will be like, figure it out, because they were making $800 a month,
Mm.
and they were pitching me fucking 10% of what they make or 15% what they make. So they're running in low too. And then when they called me, it was just surreal, and that's one of that was a lesson for me, because I was like, if I would have stopped a year before, kind of like, oh, this is too much, I won't make it, I'm from Ecuador, just having a low level mentality, I wouldn't be here today, fucking living the best life I could live.
Hmm.
So that lesson right there was just don't stop. It will come to you. Just don't stop. Because once you stop, you say like, oh, it wasn't for me. I wasn't that good. You become that good if you don't stop. So it's just time. It takes time to create something good.
How do you think that coming from Ecuador, going through all the stuff that you went through, literally fighting your way to the top, like when you are fighting someone like that, like if you win or they win, it makes a huge difference as to who moves forward. It's like a drastic difference. So how do you think that coming from Ecuador has shaped your mind and your mentality into your everyday life today?
You're just hard to kill. In anything in life, in adversity will always come. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what you do. There will be always bad days. There will be always bad moments. There will be always times you fail, because even if you do everything right, even if you push as hard as you push, there can be a guy that just push harder than you, and you can control it because you don't know what other people is doing. You can. That's why I really like the me versus me thing, that just become a better version of myself consistently. Like, the most important thing is consistency. Like, if you stop, then you stay behind, then you stay below. So having that inside me, it brought me here, and that's why I can fight the way I fight, because I've been in many fights and with guys that I was thinking like, okay, this guy's a better fighter than I am, but there's always a way around. There's always a way to break the guy. There's always a way to, you can take his soul away. That's a real thing, and my spirit is just very strong. But it's because I'm putting constant work into that. I'm putting constant work into my mind. Like, just don't break. Somebody will break, but that can't be you.
So when you're fighting and let's say there's like a 3-round fight and the first 2 rounds maybe you feel like you lost, you don't have any doubts that come into your head when that's happening, and then you win via knockout or something like that?
I just keep telling to myself, like, there's time in that fucking clock. Like, just figure it out. Remain focused, but fucking go crazy in a way. So I really have that. I've been down 2 rounds before, and a KO or submission came in the third. But it's because when fighters are winning, they think or they expect you to be broke. That won't be my case. Like, I can be losing a fight. I cannot control if a fighter is better than me, or if you just have a little better technique in some spots. But being broke is not an option. Like, throwing the towel is not an option. So it's like, that's why I say you better kill me, because if you don't, I'm gonna come after you, and them that's a mind game. Them somebody gotta break, and then if you decide that you're not the guy breaking, them the other guys fuck.
Yeah, man. Hearing you talk about this whole experience is, I can't even imagine the mindset you were probably going into your first debut in America, because essentially you were fighting for your life, meaning your new life, you know what I mean? Because let's say if it didn't work, then you would have had to, work for your dad or stay essentially in Ecuador. Maybe fighting would have went out the window. So, like, was the mindset going into that first fight like, I'm doing this for everything I have, like, because I read somewhere where you even had to go alone. You had to leave your family, your wife and kid, back home for that.
Yeah, that was when they called me to do the Ultimate Fighter. I left for like a couple months, but I never left the country before. So you just they just put you in a plane, like, you're gonna train at Jackson's MMA, and you're gonna figure it out. And if you're good enough, we'll put you in the Ultimate Fighter. You've never been out of your house. You've never been out of your country. You never had a job before. It was just like, okay, fuck, I'm a fighter. And they throw you in the best gym in the world back then. And you're around like superstars, John Jones around, Cowboys in his prime. Like, you got all these guys in there, and you're just like, fuck, what I'm doing here. I was getting tossed around every day. I was getting my ass kicked. But I just kept coming. I was like, fuck. Because over there, no one tell you what to do. They tell you the times they train. If you show up or not, up to you. I show up to every single fucking class, knowing that I was losing every single moment of that sparring. And I was like, fuck it. If I don't push here, going back like a loser, fuck that. I just, I won't say I will regret that just because I wouldn't even accept that. I can't do that.